exhibitors that are outside this conference room. Honorable guest of honor, with these few remarks, my task now is to welcome you to deliver your speech and officiate this important event for us in Tanzania and the European Union. Mheshimiwa Makamu wa Rais, karibu sana ili useme nasi. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kijaji, for welcoming Vice President. Honorable Vice President, the floor is ready for your keynote address. You are warmly welcome. We can sit.
You may be seated. Honorable Dr. Shatu Kijaji, Member of Parliament, Minister of Investment, Industries and Trade. Honorable Modric Saroga, Minister of State, President's Office, Economy, Labor and Investment, Zanzibar. Honorable Olivier Bet, Minister Delegate for Foreign Trade and Economic Attractiveness of the Republic of France. Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers present. Honorable Helena Schoenig, Deputy Secretary General for Economic and Global Issues, European External Action Service of the EU. Honorable Thomas Ostros, Vice President, European Investment Bank. Your Excellency Manfredo Fanti, Ambassador of the European Union to the United Republic of Tanzania and the East African Community. Honorable Amos Makala, Regional Commissioner of Dar es Salaam. Honorable Members of Parliament, led by Honorable Mariam Ditopile, the Vice Chairperson of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Agriculture, Industry and Trade, Permanent Secretaries and Deputy Permanent Secretaries, Excellency, Ambassadors and High Commissioners from European Union Member States, Executive Directors of the Tanzania Investment Center and Zanzibar Investment Promotion Authority, business leaders, heads of government institutions and private sector companies, representatives of our development partners and non-government organizations, investors from Tanzania and EU member states, members of the press, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very delighted and honored to officiate this first ever Tanzania-EU Business Forum. On behalf of my President, Her Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, I wish to welcome you all to this very important forum. Karibuni sana Dar es Salaam, the harbor of peace. Welcome to Tanzania, the land of Kilimanjaro, which is the rooftop of Africa, the Serengeti National Park, which is renowned for the ritual wildebeest migration, and spicy islands of Zanzibar. We are greatly honored by your presence, and we look forward to engage and partner with you. Her Excellency President Samia commends the good and growing cooperation that we have had with the European Union since the 1970s. The government values very highly the support we have been getting from the EU to complement our development efforts. Overall, it is estimated that Tanzania has, over time, received bilateral and program support from the EU to the tune of $3 billion. But of special mention is the much-needed life-saving vaccines that we received from the EU to contain the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. Her Excellency, the President, is looking forward to this forum to deliver further on strengthening of our partnership with the European Union and member states, especially targeting to stimulate EU investments in Tanzania, expand regional businesses, and bolster domestic private sector development. Excellencies, as we have been told, we are graced with over 700 participants in this forum, of whom we have investors from all the 27 member states of the European Union and over 150 Tanzanian companies. This is indeed very impressive, and it is a clear signal of the prime importance of this meeting and the readiness of both Tanzania and the European Union to scale up investment cooperation on the ground. We are grateful to the EU Secretariat for availing us with this opportunity to host this important forum, which, as we have heard, goes by this theme, Seize Tanzania's Untapped Investment Opportunities. Allow me also to extend special thanks to His Excellency Manfredo Fanti, Ambassador of the EU to the United Republic of Tanzania and the EAC. Also, our Trade and Investment Ministry and related institutions for a well-prepared forum. I went through the program and found the forum to be tailor-made and allows for diverse engagements and business matching. With such diversity, I am confident that the participants will have fruitful and in-depth exchange over the 2 days, and the outcome of this forum will indeed usher in a new era of significantly higher trade and investment. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the Tanzania government under President Samia is focused on building a vibrant economy underpinned by 4 pillars, namely reform, reconciliation, resilience, and rebuilding. We call them the 4 R's. Now, on reform, the government is dedicated to consolidating policy, institutional and regulatory reforms to improve the business environment. The reforms seek to promote consistency and predictability of policies, laws, and regulations. It aims also to enhance transparency, address red tape, and other related bottlenecks to trade and investment. A number of milestones have been recorded so far in implementing these reforms. We have rationalized institutional mandates and scrapped over 230 nuisance taxes and levies that were thwarting growth of businesses. On the same note, Tanzania has strengthened cooperation frameworks on taxation matters, including avoidance of double taxation. So far, we have already concluded and signed agreements with 10 countries on avoidance of double taxation and prevention of tax evasion. Furthermore, the government has taken serious measures to improve efficiency in revenue collection and administration, and these include enhancing fairness and efficiency in assessment, ensuring timely VAT refunds, and digitalization of tax systems, including the online self-service platform that allows the taxpayers to file returns, initiate payments, and access other tax services. We also have cargo tracking system, electronic single window that allows taxpayers to lodge their trade transactions quickly, and also the use of electronic fiscal management systems for verification of claims. The government has also amended the Tax Revenue Appeals Act, Cap 408, to accommodate alternative dispute resolution mechanisms and hence reduce bureaucracy in addressing tax appeals. In addition, steps have been taken to strengthen and modernize the Tanzania Investment Center and the Zanzibar Investment Promotion Authority to be able to serve effectively as one-stop centers for investment promotion and facilitation. Another groundbreaking reform has been the enactment of a new Tanzania Investment Act of 2022 to replace that of 1997. And the new law introduces a level playing field. It shortens the time for obtaining an investment license from 14 to 7 working days, and also granted access to international arbitration to the parties to settle disputes, either in accordance with Tanzanian arbitration laws or the International Center for the Settlement of Investment Disputes, or within the framework of any bilateral or multilateral agreement on investment protection agreed to by the government of Tanzania and the government of the country from which the investor originates. With regard to reconciliation, the government and the ruling party, CCM, have taken bold steps to further open up the civic and political space. Her Excellency President Samia continues to stress the need to adhere to the principles of good political and economic governance, rule of law, and social inclusivity, aiming at empowering the youth as well as attaining a 50-50 gender balance. In addition, dialogue with investors and business leaders within and outside the country has been carried out under the championship of Her Excellency the President, aiming at opening up Tanzania to the global economy and build investors' confidence and trust. With regard to building socioeconomic resilience, amidst the recurring global shocks and impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, the government, among others, has implemented a comprehensive plan to mitigate the effects of the pandemic, stimulate growth, and safeguard macroeconomic stability. And this includes the COVID-19 Socioeconomic Response Plan, which entailed improvement of social services, economic empowerment, and monetary policy interventions to increase liquidity and revitalize the sectors that were hit hardest by the pandemic, especially tourism, trade, and the financial sector. On rebuilding the economy, the government has capitalized on previous achievements and continued to implement mega projects. And this is reflected by a sizable increase in the development budget, which has now reached 45% of the total budget in fiscal year 2021-22, in order to enhance the productive capacity of the economy. Tanzania is currently positioning herself to boost intra-regional trade, and especially with landlocked neighbors. The ongoing construction of a multi-standard gauge railway is in good progress, and we will soon be launching its first operation for the 500-kilometer section which connects Dar es Salaam and the administrative capital city of Dodoma. In the medium term, the standard gauge railway network is set to be extended up to Musongati and Gitega in Burundi and Kindu in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And this will open the Musongati and Gitega mines of lithium and nickel, as well as facilitate transport of other cargo to and from the port of Dar es Salaam. Likewise, the Grand Julius Nyerere hydroelectric power project is now at 80.2% to completion and is expected to generate 2,115 megawatts and thereby raise our generation capacity to around 5,000 megawatts for domestic use, including countrywide rural electrification and export to neighboring countries. The government has also improved the efficiency and expanded capacity of our ports, Dar es Salaam, Tanga, Mtwara, including also the completion of the Kuala Dry Port to support port operations and decongest Dar es Salaam. Now, relatedly, to reduce the cost of clearance, the Tanzania Shipping Agencies Corporation, TASAC, its services are now confined to only hazardous consignments. Apart from these mega projects, other initiatives include accelerated construction of trunk and regional roads, the Royal Tour film, which was championed by Her Excellency the President, to showcase Tanzania's pride and revitalize the tourism sector post-COVID-19. Of recent, we have embarked on a program which we call Building a Better Tomorrow, a youth initiative for agribusiness, which aims at tapping into the youth labor force, which accounts to nearly 2/3 of our population. Furthermore, substantial investments have been made in the social service sectors, education, health, water, and so on, in order to improve the quality of life and human capital. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, payoffs from the above reforms have already been quite substantial. Among other things, we have observed that the total value of registered foreign investments quadrupled from $1.1 billion in 2020 to $4.5 billion in 2022. The number of tourist arrivals more than doubled from 620,867 in 2020 to 1,454,920 in 2022. Liquidity enhancement and prudent monetary policy implementation resulted in a rebound of annual credit growth to the private sector to a record level of 22.5% in December of 2022, compared with only 10% in the corresponding period of 2021, and an average of only 9.3% over the period 2015-16 to 2019-20. Real GDP is now back on the recovery path from the growth rate of 4.8% in 2020 to 4.9% in 2021, and an average of 5.2% over the first, second, and third quarter of 2022. In the medium term, that is from 2023 to 2027, the real GDP growth rate is projected at above 6.0%, converging to the pre-crisis growth average of 6.7%. Headline inflation remained moderate despite continued pressure on food and energy prices. In 2022, inflation averaged 4.3%, compared with 3.7% in 2021, which is still within the target band of 3 to 7% and the East African Community average of 10%. With such a growth momentum, Tanzania has become one of the fastest growing economies in sub-Saharan Africa, exceeding the regional average of 4.7% in 2021 and 3.8% in 2022. And this is according to the World Bank reports, as well as the IMF update of January 2023. And we are confident that we are making steady progress and turning into a bright spot for investment with a good rate of return. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, Tanzania has a very strong desire to attract foreign direct investment and capitalize on our rich natural resource endowments and a strategic geographical location. While we are aware of the turbulence of the geopolitics, we are also conscious of the opportunities that come with it, particularly on enhancing food security and the agricultural sector as a whole. We are now in the process of preparing the next Tanzania development vision for another 25 years, where we envision to transform the national economy from a lower middle income country to join the rank of upper middle income countries. This will certainly require, among other things, increased investment and trade, and hence we are really optimistic that this forum will be an important lever towards this objective. As we are embarking on reforms undertaken and the achievements so far, Tanzania welcomes investments that build on our capabilities in reaping the demographic dividend, pursuing greener pathways, ensuring higher agricultural productivity and food security, harness science, technology, and innovation, and tap into the fourth industrial revolution. Nonetheless, I will wish to highlight selected investment priorities that the government seeks to further unlock in order to accelerate the socio-economic development of our country. First, as I mentioned earlier, agriculture is among the sectors that we are giving special attention and effort in rebuilding the economy. So I welcome you to take advantage of the investment opportunities from Agenda 1030 that seeks to promote agribusiness and increase agricultural sector growth to 10% by 2030. The approach that we have adopted is to introduce cluster farming for the youth. This is the Building a Better Tomorrow that I alluded to earlier, which requires significant investment in mechanization and digital platforms. We are also targeting to undertake large-scale commercial farming of crops such as sugarcane, wheat, sunflower, grapes, maize, and horticulture, as well as deep-sea fishing, aquaculture, and ranching. With a great potential for Tanzania to become the food basket of the region and beyond, we are inviting investors to establish agro-processing industries and food innovation hubs. Second is tourism. This is another wanting area for investment, given the ample marine resources along our 1,000-kilometer coastline, as well as Zanzibar and Pemba Islands. And the opportunities include building of tourism infrastructure, including hotels, sports arena, conferences and hospitals, game parks, construction of golf courses, sea and lake cruising, and development of ecotourism facilities. Third is logistics. The combination of a growing manufacturing sector and the fact that Tanzania is the de facto gateway and trans-corridor for goods to and from landlocked countries in Eastern and Southern Africa, it makes logistics to be one of the most attractive investment opportunities, ranging from port development and digitization of services, construction of toll roads, storage facilities, dry ports, airport handling services, skills enhancement, and so on. Another area that may be of interest to some of you relates to the energy sector. And this includes oil and gas exploration in Zanzibar, investment in renewable and other forms of clean energy, utilizing solar, windmills, and solid waste. The country's solar radiation levels range between 1.8 megawatt hours and 2.2 megawatt hours per square meter, which is equivalent to Spain, while the high wind power potential covers 10% of the country, which rivals California. As is well known, ICT and digital transformation is among the key drivers of rapid development. Our national ICT policy advocates for investment in building digital infrastructure, such as data farms and digital technology institutes, to enhance skills and capitalize on the cutting-edge digital innovations, such as robotic engineering, artificial intelligence, etc. We therefore welcome investors from the EU to join us in this endeavor. Other areas include value addition industries to support the expanding apiculture and mining sectors. Tanzania is also an ideal location for pharmaceutical industries, edible oils and textile industries, and livestock and leather industries. Real estate is another lucrative venture driven by the booming tourism industry, as well as growing cities, including the new capital city of Dodoma. Alongside infrastructural developments in Dodoma, the government is making efforts to support greening initiatives in the capital. We are conscious of the global environment and what our partnership can achieve. Inclusion of green spaces in our cities is part of nature-based solutions that offer innovative approaches to increase the quality of urban settlements and contribute to reduction of greenhouse gases and global warming. It is along these lines that we are therefore welcoming establishment of green parks in Dodoma City, investments in renewable energy and climate-smart infrastructure in the fast-growing cities, including the transformation of solid waste into fertilizer and biogas. In addition, you may also wish to explore investing in carbon trading. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the EU-Tanzania Business Forum is indeed a unique opportunity to boost and sustain our achievements. I take note of the existing investment and trade levels reached so far. Total trade between Tanzania and the EU nearly doubled from $1.2 billion in 2019 to $2.1 billion in 2022, accounting for 10% of total trade in 2022. The FDI stock of the European Union-based companies was $3.2 billion in 2019, compared to around $2 billion in 2022, accounting for about 13% of total FDI stock in 2022. Tanzania also has been receiving a good number of tourists from the European Union, from 362,393 in 2019 to 449,200 visitors in 2022, which is about 31% of total visitors in 2022. The EU has also played a great role in turning around tourism earnings, being among the 10 top spenders in 2022. And despite the achievements, the trade balance between the EU and Tanzania remained in favor of the EU, with the trade deficit of around $500 million in 2019 and $900 million in 2022. We therefore bank on this forum to contribute to addressing this trade imbalance. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude my remarks, I wish to once again reiterate that we expect this forum to be a catalyst to increase EU investment in Tanzania and a venue to build mutual confidence and trust. We look forward to a partnership that will align with our aspiration to be not only the regional business hub, but also a food granary for the world. Keeping in mind the vast domestic market of 61.7 million people, which is, by the way, projected to double by 2044, we have a regional East African community market of not less than 177 million people, a SADC market of over 300 million people, and the African Continental Free Trade Area, which covers 55 African countries, with a market of not less than 1.4 billion people. Your investments are guaranteed to exponentially succeed. It is our hope that this very first EU-Tanzania Business Forum is the beginning of many more to come. As we have embarked on the journey, we look forward to having candid discussions on the opportunities and your fears and the constraints that hinder faster progress in stimulating investment and trade from the EU member states. Please accompany us in this journey so that we go far. Bring business financing of significance as announced by the European Investment Bank. Bring the technology and experience, particularly in high payoff investments. I also wish to take this opportunity to encourage the business community in Tanzania to take advantage of this forum to learn, share experiences, network, and look out for business opportunities. Na hapa ningependa kusisitiza kwa Kiswahili. Kwa wafanyabiashara wa Kitanzania, tumieni fursa hii adhimu kujifunza, kubadilishana uzoefu, kufahamiana na wawekezaji mbalimbali na kutafuta fursa za kushirikiana na kuingia makubaliano ya kibiashara. With these remarks, I now have the honor and pleasure to announce that the first EU-Tanzania Business Forum is officially opened. I wish you successful deliberations and conclusion of many deals, aside from the welcomed agreements and MOUs that have been signed before us on air transport, port services, investment in the Kakono Hydro Project, the KNAF Gypsum Tanzania Limited. Thank you very much. Thank you for your kind attention.
Asante sana. Okay, you may sit seated. His Excellency Dr. Philip Isdoli Mpango, we appreciate your keynote address and marks the end of the opening session. We are now allow you to proceed with other program. And we request the pressure of the Dr. Kijaj and I table to escort you from the conference room. Brass band, please. Asante, brass band. Distinguished delegates, you may seated, please. Distinguished delegates, we are done with the opening session, and may I take this opportunity to welcome my co-director of Solomon to proceed with the program. Au revoir. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana na kazi iendelee.
Asante. Kindly remain seated for the next session. Kindly remain seated for the next session. May I request those that signed the MOU to proceed to the second floor of this building for the press conference. Those who signed the MOUs, please proceed to the second floor, Ngorongoro room, for the press conference. The rest of us, we're going on to the next session, which is going to be tapping into Tanzania's investment opportunity, and this will be moderated by Ambassador Mary O'Neill, the Ambassador of Ireland to Tanzania. May I kindly request that we remain seated for the next session. Naomba niwaombe wote tuketi ili tuweze kuendelea kwa hatua ya pili. Hatua ya pili baada ya ufunguzi. The second session is going to be parallel press conference with all those who signed the MOUs. Also in this room, we're going to have a panel discussion on tapping onto Tanzania's investment opportunities, which will be moderated by Ambassador Mary O'Neill, the Ambassador of Ireland to Tanzania. May I now kindly request all of us to sit so that we may proceed with the session. Wale waliosaini mikataba, naomba twende ukumbi wa Ngorongoro.